Okay, so some concerns about some fiberglass. So you have all different kits claiming to fit the best, cheaper to more expensive. I've seen some kits that are as cheap as $2,500 all the way up to almost $10,000. So what's the difference? Well, first of all, just FYI, this is kind of a generalization on what to look for, how to tell a difference, and different styles of these fiberglass for these e-kits. We like to save people money on labor. You may pay more for a quality part, but you're still going to have to work it, no matter what. I don't care what these fiberglass companies claim. It'll fit right out of the box. It will not. I don't care. Each one of these cars is so different. They each have a personality of their own, and each thing will fit differently on each car. I've seen that many times, and it's just the life. It's just what it is. I don't care what they claim. They can claim it till they're blue in the face, but they're never going to get me to believe that their stuff fits right out of the box and there's not going to be any trimming. So anyway, fiberglass, generally it'll come a little bit oversized so that you can make adjustments, you can trim. It's a lot easier to trim a little bit at a time versus a big chunk and then have to fix it. Trust me, little by little is far more time conserving. Is that even the word? Time saving? That's better. It's way more time saving if you go little by little. Even though it takes a little bit of time, you have to take it off, put it back on. It's just like when we build these bodies, we're taking them apart and putting them together 5-6 times before we're ready to weld. It's just good sense just to make sure everything is getting where it needs to be and it's following these contours. So let's go over these kits. So we have one that we got off of eBay. I think it's out of Mexico, honestly. These exhaust skirts are extremely long. And why are they extremely long? Why are they different? So anyway, it's a one piece, and it goes from the front fender, back side of the wheel well, all the way to the front side of the wheel well on the rear side. Installed, they don't look bad. I'm not the biggest fan of these because what happens if you got to take your fender off? Well, now you got to take the whole skirt off. But the style that we do like, which is similar to an MTF Mustang Zafir has this style. We source these locally, and we like these a lot. They're more practical. There are more pieces to them. Not really actually pieces because the front wheel wells are all one piece of the front. I'll show you here in a second. And it is shorter in comparison because the front fender piece has been added to the front flare. These are more practical, in my opinion. They're easier to work with just because it's not as long. And if you have to take your fender off, you can take your fender off without having to take your body kit off, which is a big plus in my opinion. These locally sourced kits, they are the lower exhaust style instead of being in the higher style where it's in the rocker. These ones go under the rocker. You can make the side exhausts functional. It's just a lower thing, but you can make these higher into the high style. Let's go to the wheel wells. This is the rear wheel well of the locally sourced kit. You can see how thick it is, and it has almost no flex as compared to the Mexico. Let's see if we can get these to overlap. You can see the thickness. See if you can see that. See the difference? American made versus Mexican made? I'm just kidding. Not everything's like that. But there is a real difference in these flare kits. You're going to have to work these ones probably significantly more. The arches don't follow the arches. They're way off. And so you're going to have to do some things that we're going to show you here in a minute to get them to fit. We're going to show you, just because we'd rather put these ones on. These ones, the arches, it's a little bit off, but it's not entirely. It's maybe an inch. If you have this one lined up in the rear, this one may be in a little bit. But there are some ways that we can fix that. We're going to show you two different ways of the installation. And And what makes it easy just depends on what you want to do. If you have a heat gun, heat guns are awesome with fiberglass in case panels are warped. You can heat them up, put them where they need to be, let it cool, and it'll retain that. We've done it a couple times on these kits. So let me show you the front fender flare. So as you can see, just the front third of the exhaust skirt is in the front flare. So we like this style just because of the practicality, and if you do need to take panels off, it's not going to require a whole new panel to be put on and painted. So we like quality over cheaper stuff. Again, if someone wants to go cheaper, typically, yeah, parts are going to be cheaper, and it's going to reflect that. It's just like quarter panel sheet metal. You get the cheaper stuff, it's going to take a lot, significant more time to install it on a car, versus if you get a quality part, you're still going to have to do some trimming, but it's going to be significantly less time doing it. So that is a big plus of actually investing into quality fiberglass versus the cheapest stuff you can find, because literally you are going to be spending substantially much more time installing those kits. If that's what you want to do just to save some money, that's up to you. But here, time is money because it is a business. So we like to have quality stuff on our cars because we don't want to have stuff fall apart or have issues later on. Not saying that the quality stuff doesn't have issues, because just like all manufacturers of cars, they have their problems sometimes. It happens. But you always want to check before you install these. You always want to check for air pockets. Doesn't matter if it's hand laid or put together in another way. You always have to make sure that there's no air pockets, so that when you're sanding and stuff, it's not a thin area and then it breaks through once you're done painting. That would be a shame. You want to resolve those issues before you get those things done. So if you have interest in any of these kits, especially this one that we use locally, we can get in contact with us and we can see what kind of pricing we can get you with shipping, and we can go from there. It's a very good quality kit. We're using it on 2 cars right now. So we're going to make also a video on going over how we piece these kits together, because we like to use as minimal fiberglass as possible. So for example, hoods, we like to use the Dynacorn hoods, whether it's a Shelby or an Eleanor kit. We like to use Dynacorn's trunk with their quarter panel extensions. They have fit by far the best, and we believe it's a composite with actually a frame underneath it that keeps it straight, and it has very minimal. It doesn't have any weird bends. We've seen some of them where there's like a 1/2 inch rise above the filler panel, and then you have to deal with all that. So we have come up with some pieces, kind of pieced the kit together, that makes it more affordable, and you have less fiberglass to worry with, and they fit tons better. So if you have any questions about that, we can get in touch with each other, and we can go about piecing a kit for you and possibly selling you kits. So it just depends on how many people are actually interested in that, because there's always that question of, well, what's the difference between this kit and this kit? Well, we found what works for us. Everybody's different. We're not a big fan of fiberglass hoods, even though they're great products. We would rather use a metal one so there's less chance of warpage. If it gets in the hot sun, and then you don't have to deal with that. It's just less stuff that could go wrong. So we like to limit that stuff. So we can list, what parts we use, where we get the kits. We can source one for you. We get them locally, and we can work on that.